So I had some requests about Chinese stocks, so I'm gonna just do the exchanges there. So we're gonna do the Shanghai Stock Exchange, the Shenzhen Composite Component, whatever, and also the Hang Seng. So we're gonna use the linear scale only, just because they're not really that exponential. And I'm gonna show you how market symmetry has been working perfectly for these Chinese indices as well. So let's start with the Shanghai Stock Exchange, and we will look right here that the 45-degree angle is this green line right here. And look how symmetrical it's been since the very beginning in 1991. Like, it went up to the first level, right? Came back down, went up to the blue level, hesitated a little bit, came back down, tested the arc, then the all-time high was this green level, like no coincidence, and it matched up with that angle as well, right? Then all the way back down to the orange level where it found ultimate support back in 2014. And here in the financial crisis, it went down to retest that blue angle, right? But look, it's just super, super symmetrical, and it's still from the very bottom, it's still making higher lows, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and it's in a trend that is up, right? Even though it's very, very slowly in comparison to the U.S. stock exchanges, but it's slowly going up. And now, where do we see price? Well, it's back at the blue angle, and we'll zoom in here a little bit, right here. And we can see that it's starting to close candles back below the blue angle, but it's done that many times before. It's done it here, then it went back and up above, and if we go in the past, it's done it before as well, right? So as long as it still keeps making higher lows, then it should continue higher and higher. And if we add the confluence of the Ichimoku here, we see why it got rejected. We see exactly why it got rejected where it did, and that was the top of the cloud. And once it got rejected there, then it started making lower. So where are we going to find support? It could be right around here, the baseline, which sits at 2904. And if we add even more confluences on there, the SMAs, that's even more reason why it's resistance. The 100 week is right there. And the 8 EMA and the 21, they are closing candles below again. So it's lost a lot of momentum recently. So the current short-term trend is down. And where could a bottom be found? At that lower 2900 area that we saw with the baseline, which kind of lines up with the zone right here and right here, and so on and so forth, right? So even though it's trending down recently, the long-term trend is higher lows for continuation, most likely back to the blue level in the future, which is going to be around 4100. Who knows how long that'll take, but we'll keep an eye on that level. Now let's go check out the Shenzhen Composite. So I guess it's the Shenzhen Component Index, not the composite. But here it is. Since the bottom here in 2005, since the beginning, we can still see how symmetrical it has been. And especially this is the 45-degree angle right here. And in the early days, it did try to break this level, and it did from 2007 right here. It tried to flip it to support, but then the financial crisis happened and went right back down to the 45, came back up to this arc, then right back down to the 45, lost it as support, then this blue angle was support, and then up to the arc, making a lower high from here, then back down to the blue, and now it got rejected again by that orange level. So this is not really as bullish as the Shanghai Stock Exchange, but it is still following market symmetry perfectly. And we can see now, finally, it's never tested this angle before, and finally it tested it right there back in February of 2024. So could it come back down and go retest this as ultimate support around like 8,000 or 7,900? Yeah, that is a possibility for the Shenzhen Component Index, right? It's a real possibility, but is it still making higher lows? Let's see. So from here, is this a higher low from here? Yes. Is this a higher low from here? Yes, it is. Is this still a higher low from here? Yes, it is, right? Just ever so slightly, it's still making higher lows. So in the super high time frame since 2005, even though it's not making higher highs, it's actually making lower highs. It's still making higher lows. So it's not super bearish really. And if we add the Ichimoku on here, we'll zoom in a little bit here. We can see that the downtrend is pretty significant since it broke through the cloud and that orange level at the top right here, right? It's been in a downtrend since then, since 2021. And it hasn't been able to break through the cloud since then. So it's still in a bearish downtrend, which means that this is still possible that it comes back down to retest this angle for a possible bottom. But the good thing that's happening is the cloud looks like it's really getting thinner and thinner here. So it's a possibility to get back into the cloud. But we saw it get back into the cloud here, but it was just a fake out and it couldn't continue, mainly because it got rejected by this angle right up here. So the trend is down since the high right here in 2021, even a little bit before, maybe March of 2021 here, February. But yeah, this is not a, like for the past couple of years, this is not a bullish chart. This is pretty bearish, and it's going to probably continue lower until it finds its double bottom or its local bottom or whatnot. But when we go back up to that trend continues, like higher lows from all of these, then the trend of slightly and slowly going up should continue, right? And I believe since this angle finally got hit for the first time, this is probably going to hold for the foreseeable future for a slowly continuation up back to the 15,000 level, maybe in the 2030s, maybe beyond. We don't really know, but this chart is not that great, but it's also not that terrible either. And would I be interested in anything in the Shenzhen component? No, I would not. But it's just proof that market symmetry still works overall. So now let's go to the Hang Seng Index. So lastly, we have the Hang Seng Index here, and also it's following market symmetry nearly perfectly as well. And that is the 45-degree angle. We can see how important that was throughout time. And it did break it a few times, but now it's basically underneath the 45, the longest it's ever been in history of the stock exchange, the index, and it looks like it's still holding a level, right? It's holding this blue level. And we can see from the beginning, this blue level, or this orange level was important, right? It came back here in 2003 to retest it. And finally, that was confirmed as ultimate support, and then went up to the blue, flipped it right there to from resistance to support with that. Then it went straight up to the green level, straight up to this level where it was resistance, then back down, then back up, and then finally got to the blue arcs where you can see those throughout time. Right here resistance, and right here resistance, and then back down it came to the green arc, went back up, flipped the green level right here from a previous support. We can see it was previous support. Now it flipped it as resistance once, came back down to the blue, flipped it twice, and now it's trending in a downtrend, right? But we can see clearly where support is, and that is the blue line. So this is probably the buying opportunity for the Hang Seng Index if it ever got back down to the 15,500 level, and possibly a retest of that blue angle, which never really happened until right here in 1990, right? If you follow that blue angle all the way out, that could be a possibility in the near future, where it could go through, or it could take some time where the blue line and the blue angle meet, maybe around 2032, around there. But when we turn on the Ichimoku here, we can see that it's also in a downtrend, right? It hasn't really closed candles above the Ichimoku since, I mean, it closed the candle here above, but that was a fake out back here in 2023. But it's around the same time, 2021. So it's clearly defined that since 2021, the bear market has been very, very strong for the Chinese markets. And we still, and they still cannot get above levels. Like we can see why it got rejected right here. It was once again the top of the cloud. But now it's above the conversion line and it's within the cloud. So can this level hold? This doesn't necessarily need to come back to the blue level. Not necessarily. But the trend is still down. So there's really no reason to kind of buy into these right now until they get to lower levels, in my opinion, because that's where the risk reward becomes in your favor. And one thing I can point out right now that is a positive is the Ichimoku cloud in the future is starting to turn green. So that is kind of an indication that maybe we're at a support level in this zone here. So if you wanted to take a stab at levels, it could work, right? But we know where resistance is. It's at this green level right here because it flipped it, right? This is shorter term resistance right here, shorter to medium term resistance, and we know where support is right down here. So you have a clearly defined support and resistance for all these indices. So if you wanted to take a stab at things, then you know where to buy, right? Based off of the market symmetry. But yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video to show you guys how no matter what index, no matter what country, no matter where you look at in the world, market symmetry exists. And this is proof right here. So we know longer term that all the Chinese stocks, they're all making higher lows, but they're not really making higher highs. So really the growth is not that great in those markets. So if you want to take a stab at it, go ahead. But for me, it's not really interesting to me because they're not that explosive like some of the companies in the US.